Hey guys, Jeff here for iPlayZone. Today I'm actually not playing a little game, well I kind of am playing it, but I want to talk about a game, and that game is King of Thieves by Zeptolab. Those are the guys that also make Cut the Rope 1 and 2. The game is free in the App Store right now, so just download if you want to. But I'm not here to talk about the game in general. I want to talk about a special portion of the game, and that is the defense of your home. By now, if you've played it, the goal is to have a home that is as safe as possible to keep people away from stealing your stuff. Of course, it is not possible to make a home and to set your traps that it is impossible to get to your treasure, because if you want to save a level, you have to basically complete the level 2 times in a row, and if you can't beat your level yourself, you can't save it. So this is basically the idea of the game, that well, it should be prevented that people are building possible to beat levels. So you still don't want people hanging around in your home, so here are some basic tips that I want to give you on how to improve your defense in the game. So the first thing I would tell everybody is to, once you set up your defense, just wait a moment, and sooner or later people will be entering your home and raiding it. What you're going to do now is just check out the videos. You can, if you go to the screen for the raids, the raid log I guess it's called, you can check that and you will see how people were beating your level. Just check the replays and see how people are approaching your level, and by seeing that you can basically think of strategies to make it even harder to beat the level. So one important thing is that even if you have a simple way of beating the level and you think that is the only way and it's hard to beat the level like that, chances are people will find another way. And yeah, be always sure to check out what that way is that people are beating your level. So the second thing you should consider is, what kind of layout do you have and what kind of traps do you have. You can buy traps in the menu, and there is a trap set that is kind of cheap and a trap set that is way more expensive. I would basically recommend to always go for the cheaper one, because people aren't going to get millions and millions of dollars from you or gold from you. So most of the time spending too much money on these defenses is basically not worth it, but that's just my opinion. Now about the traps, one thing that is important is to basically know what every trap is doing and where's the best place to set it up. So first thing, we have this saw wheel, I guess, the saw thingy. What this is doing, it is basically blocking a single block. If you touch it, you die. So where do you set those? You set those at places where you think that people will most likely want to be. So that means that we are talking about basically some corners where people are most likely going to be, or places where people are going to jump. It's a nice idea to place it at a point where they're most likely going to die. Yeah, that sounds kind of cruel, but that's how you do it. Then we have these flyers. These are, in my opinion, the most annoying kind, because they are following you. And the thing about these flyers is that they are the ones that are keeping the pressure up. I guess one of the most important things to have a good defense is to have a high pressure level. So that means that you want to have the player at all times when he's playing the level, or at certain times, to have a very high pressure level, because the higher the pressure, the higher the chances are that people are going to make mistakes, and that is what we want. So these flyers are very important, and in my opinion are one of the best things you can use to, well, defend your place. And then we have these guards. There's this, I don't know what they're actually called. There's this line guard, which is basically moving on a single line where you can patrol him. And then there's this circle guard that is like spinning around and, yeah, circling around in a certain area. So the part about the line guard is that you can use that to force people to jump at a certain time. And if the timing is off, chances are quite high that they will die if you have placed another obstacle at that place. So you can use the line guards again to enhance the pressure, but it is important to place them at places, in my opinion, that are rather narrow. Because if there's an open space, people will basically jump over these guys, and that's no problem. The thing with Circle Guard is basically that they are quite hard to tell when they are going to be at a special place. So I haven't unlocked those by now, but I've seen them by now. And the thing with these is that, unlike the Line Guards, which are quite easy to tell if you're looking at it how much time is he needing to get from A to B. You can use the circle guards to circle certain areas, and it is kind of harder to tell when they are going to be at a special place because they're not moving on a line but on a circle. Yeah, circle guards are basically there if you also want to check the place not just on a horizontal level but also on a vertical level. You can by that guard areas. And well, then there is the normal cannon. My tip with these is to just place them in hallways similar to the line guards. The thing is that if you place them in a hallway, chances are quite high that people will be forced to jump, and if there again is another obstacle, chances are quite high that people will make mistakes, and that is what we want, because again, it is not possible to build an impossible level, an impossible to beat level. You just want to make it as hard as possible for the people, and that is by forcing them to make mistakes. And the last one is a secret cannon. I would call it like that. It's like a cannon with an eye. And what these are doing is that they are following the enemy. So the good thing about these is I wouldn't place them in hallways, I would rather place them at open spaces, because the thing is if you place them at an open space, chances are quite high that they are going to annoy the people who are raiding your stuff or raiding your treasure. They are going to be annoyed by them all the time. If you just place them in a hallway, for instance, the people that are playing the level are just going to be annoyed for a few seconds while they're in the hallway, and after that they're basically not caring about them anymore. So try, in my opinion, try to place them at open places, open spaces to enhance your chances to kill the people. And one big tip that I would give you is, it is kind of stupid that the game isn't really like telling you openly that you can do this, but you can move the door. So what that is good for is that by placing the door at a certain point, you are forcing people to start at a certain point, and you are forcing people to start into a certain direction. For instance, if you place the door at a place where the player is just starting and running towards the area where he wants to go to, you are not making quite hard. But if you place it in a corner where the player is supposed or has to just first do a wall jump to get into the other direction, chances are that he will maybe be bad with the timing, chances are that he will maybe make more mistakes if he's playing the level more and more times, because the more often you play a level, the more annoyed you're getting by it. And that is something that I would really recommend to do, because that is something that can, it's a little change in the level, it's a little change in the layout, but it can make it quite hard for people to deal with that. It's not going to make it impossible, but it is a little hint that I would give with a big effect. And then another thing is to always make use of the layout. You have several homes, and all of these homes are different from each other. So the basic idea behind this is to make use of everything you have. If there's a narrow hallway, why not place a blind guard or a normal cannon there to make it harder? Just always look at the layout of the level and try to adapt to that, because there is no 100% foolproof way to build a good level or to build a good defense. It is just some certain rules that you should follow to enhance your defense. And one thing with enhancing the defense is to really try to make people angry. I know this sounds stupid, but try to make people as angry as possible. Because for instance, if people are forced to always spend a minute with trying to beat your level and then dying, it is way more difficult to stay calm and to stay focused than it is if the level is always just taking a few seconds up. I know this is kind of sounding strange because you want your enemies to die as fast as possible, that's right, but you also want to have them on a high pressure for a longer time, because the more time is passing and the more pressure they're having, chances are again higher that they will make mistakes, and that is what we want. And yeah, one of the final tips I would give you is, if you spread out your defense, the thing is that you are getting into a situation where there's always a certain amount of pressure on your enemy or the guy entering your home, but there is never never a point where there's a very high pressure level. You don't want a pressure level that is kind of low all the time or on the middle level all the time. You want places where there is a huge pressure level at one spot. Reasoning is that if you have these places where it's spread out, where all your defense is spread out, you will have the big problem that they will always have time to think what they're going to do next, because they're going from a threat to threat to threat, and they're having enough time to think what they are supposed to do. But if you are putting all of these pressure points into one single spot, chances are that they will be, first of all, annoyed by your level. You will be too, because you have to finish the level 2 times to save the edit, and at the same time you will have a situation where people will make mistakes because there is a very high pressure level, and they are seeing that they are losing money as often as they die. They are losing that money, and that is what you want to do. The goal should be to have a very high pressure level all the time as possible, and if you can't have it high all the time, in my opinion, try to make a single spot where there's a ridiculously higher level of pressure, because that is making it way harder for people to stay calm and stay focused all the time. And yeah, that's about it. And another video I will do a little, I don't know if it's called if I should call a workshop. I will start a level, I will have a look at my home, and I will just in the video try to improve it and show you guys well, what are the best ideas and what you should apply to make the best defense possible. So that's it for this video. Be sure to check out the second video. I will have a link in the description below, and most likely in the video itself. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to share your experience and your ideas and feedback in the comment section below. If you have some kind of super cool super trick, because I'm not a specialist myself, I just told you what I thought was best for my levels. So if you have some kind of special tip that you want to share, please feel free to do so. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Feel free to like this video, comment and subscribe if you want to. That would make me very happy, and feel free and be sure to check part 2 out. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until then, happy playing, have fun, bye.